Welcome back to CanHammer, everybody. Today's episode, a read-along for Codex Harlequins. Welcome back to CanHammer, everybody, your source for 40k from the Great White North. Today we got the read-along of the new Codex Harlequins. This is yet another book that falls into the Eldar faction. And can this book make Eldar even stronger than it already is? We shall see. Seemingly every book that comes out gives Eldar yet another tool to put in the tool bag. How do they manage with so many options? Who knows? But this is the next codex. So interestingly enough, you see that the codex itself has the sort of Harlequin motif all around it here. 4 different skulls on the 4 corners. So taken some care to make this kind of a nice themed codex. It's probably the thinnest codex, and it was cheaper than the other ones, only $40 as opposed to $60. We'll do our usual. So the whole codex is only 80 pages, 79 pages, 80 including a picture, and the rules start at page 54. So it's still the 2/3 sort of split, and it's only 80 pages worth of codex. So let's see how this one looks. Let's just adjust a little bit here. Alright, so they have masks, which is kind of like their chapter tactics, and yeah, so that's about it. They don't. That's about it. So let's just go forward. So I myself am not super familiar with Harlequins, so we'll just look at some of the data sheets. There aren't that many to go through. So the Troop Master is your basic HQ, I'm guessing. He's sort of a 2+2+. They move 8 inches, which is pretty fast. Strength 3, Toughness 3, like most Eldar. 5 wounds, 5 attacks at the base, and a 6-up save. But he does get a 4-up invuln, luckily. So basically, I think this whole army basically lives off of 4-up invuln, which is good in some respects, but not good in a lot of other respects, and especially in an age of high volume shooting. 4-up just does not cut it. So he comes with a Shrieking Pistol, Harlequin's Blade, and a Plasma Gun. Let's just get, so your pistol is your usual Shrieking stuff where a wound roll of 6 gives you extra AP. Harlequin's Blade is Strength 3, 0 AP, 1 damage, so you ain't doing nothing with that. You're barely killing guardsmen. And of course you can have a Neuro Disruptor or a Fusion Pistol. Fusion Pistol is just a melta pistol, 6-inch range. And a Neuro Disruptor is a pistol that's Strength 4 -3 D3 damage, which is pretty sweet, other than vehicles. But still only Strength 4. And then Harlequin's Kiss and Caress and Embrace are the three Harlequin melee weapons. The Harlequin's Caress is Strength +2, so Strength 5 -2, 1 damage, not too bad. The Embrace is Strength 4 -3, 1 damage, okay, not too bad, I guess. And Harlequin's Kiss is Strength 4, again, -1 D3 damage, which I hate D3 damage, but potentially more damage. So probably I would go with the Caress. That extra strength, you get -2 AP, which is pretty good already, 1 damage. So, you know, being Strength 5 can make a difference. Not so much difference, so maybe the Strength 4 is okay. I guess it depends what you're trying to kill. I mean, you're probably not trying to take on T8 models with this guy, so probably Strength 4 is good enough with the -3, makes it more reliable. And somebody can math that out, whether that's better than -1 D3, it probably is. Especially with 5 attacks. So, Rising Crescendo is an ability that a lot of Harlequins have. Funnily enough, it's not like a Harlequin trait. It's just a rule on a lot of their on a lot of their data sheets. This lets you advance and charge and fall back and shoot and or charge in the same turn. So basically these guys cannot be, don't suffer any of those problems with advancing, charging, falling back. The flip belt allows them to move across models and terrain as if they were not there. There you go. So they basically kind of have fly, but without the disadvantages. And they can already shoot after they fall back anyway. So basically they're all fly. They have 4 involved, and in the fight phase, reroll failed wound rolls for mask units within 6 inches. So gives you a reroll of wounds, which is interesting. The Shadow Seer is your basic psyker. He has pretty much the same profile except only 3 attacks and a 7-up save and a 4-up invuln. He has comes with the Shuriken pistol, a mist stave, and the hallucinogen grenade launcher. Basically, hallucinogen grenade launcher is 18-inch range, assault 1. If a unit is hit by this weapon, roll 2d6. If the roll is greater 2, then the leadership suffers d3 mortal. So it's kind of like the Calidus, except the Calidus was 3d6 and always missed. So I don't hold out too much hope for this one. And the mist stave is strength +2, so strength 5 -1 d3. So it's basically the same. It's kind of like the Kiss, I guess. Rising Crescendo, flip belt, halo suit, shield from harm. Opponents attract 1 from wound rolls for any attacks made against friendly mask infantry units within 6 inches. That's pretty good. So -1 to wound against these guys, considering their toughness 3. So a lot of good things will be wounding you at least on 3, so that goes to a 4. Anything like strength 6 or above will be wounding on 2s, so now it goes to 3. So that could save you, but with those invulns, still probably not. From any attacks made against friendly units that are within 6. Okay, so that includes shooting then, so that helps with things like bolters and stuff. Yeah, so that's pretty strong actually. And then he has 2 psychic powers and can attempt to deny 1. So your basic troop, here we are. These guys are only 1 wound, of course, 4 attacks base, 6-up save, with 4-up invulns, and they can flip and Rising Crescendo, and that's about it. And they can take any amount of combination of those Harlequin weapons we already talked about. So they're your basic troop. They're the troop. Troop. So the Death Jester is this cool looking guy. I really like the model. Basically he's got 5 wounds. He's an elite slot with 4 attacks, 6+ save, 4-up invuln, Rising Crescendo, flip belt, usual stuff. He has the Shrieker cannon. When attacking with this weapon, you can do Shrieker or Shuriken. Shrieker is 24-inch assault 1, 6 -1 1. And if it kills somebody, that unit suffers d3 wounds. If any models in a unit are slain by this weapon, subtract 2 from the unit's leadership characters until the end of the turn. So if any models are slain by this weapon, that could be important. You have to remember though. And then you have the Shuriken, which is 24-inch assault 3, 6 0 1. So no minus, and it was 0 1. So probably, I don't know. Doesn't seem that impressive, to be honest. Deadly Hunter can shoot characters at 24 inches, so it's not so bad, but you might not be killing many characters with those kind of statistics. Death is not enough. If models flee from a unit in the same turn that has been attacked by this model, you can choose the first model that flees. Okay, that might make a difference. Allows you to make heavy weapons flee or characters, things like that. So that might be something useful. So all you have to do is actually attack something, and then something else can cause it to flee morale. You don't actually have to kill anything. Interesting. But if you do kill something, they are -2 from their leadership, and they've been attacked, so the more likely you'll get to choose someone to flee. That's okay. I don't know. I find leadership shenanigans not that effective so far. Maybe the Harlequins will make it a first. Okay, the Solitaire is this bastard that moves like 40 inches a turn. So he moves 12 inches. He has 8 attacks base, which is crazy. I think that's the most attacks base of anybody I know. And he has their 4-up invuln, flip belt, Rising Crescendo, usual things. Actually, he has a 3-up invuln, impossible form. He can never have a warlord trait, and he has this blitz move. So the blitz move, basically once per battle, instead of making a normal move, you make a blitz move. You add 2d6 to its move until the end of the turn. In addition, attacks is increased to 10 until the end of the turn, and may not be used if the model has been selected as the target of the Twilight Pathway psychic power. Okay, so basically he could move, you know, up to 36 inches, more on an average of maybe 19 or 20 inches, and goes to 10 attacks. So interesting. And he's an elite, he's not an HQ. Alright, Skyweavers are the fast attack, those little bike dudes. The unit contains 2 Skyweavers or additional ones, has Shrieking Cannons and Star Bowlers. So Shrieking Cannons, same as the Eldar one, and it can have Haywire Cannons and Zephyr Glaives for melee. So the Haywire Cannon is Assault D6 at 24 inches, 4 -1/1. If the target is a vehicle and you roll a wound roll of 4+, the target suffers a mortal wound in addition to any other damage. If the wound roll is a 6, it suffers D3. So that's kind of your Haywire anti-vehicle effect. Still, it's only strength 4, so you're wounding on 5s almost always against most vehicles. And at only -1, most vehicles still got a 4-up save, so not that reliable. Shuriken Cannon is the usual Eldar cannon. The Zephyr Glaive is strength +1, so strength 4 -2, 2 straight damage. It's not so bad. The Star Bola is a grenade D3, so it's 12-inch grenade D3. 12 inches, wow, nice. 6 strength 6 -3 AP, 2 damage. Oh, that's definitely the thing to use if you're within 12 inches. These things move 16 inches, so it's not too bad. Wow, 6 -3, 2 damage. I wish that was Custodes Spears. Instead of D3 damage, 2 damage. Blur of color, when this unit advances, add 6 instead of, yeah, so it's like a biker, and 4-up invuln, and a native -1 to hit against shooting, so not so bad. Void Weaver, these are some more kind of skimmy dudes. 2 Shrieking Cannons and a Haywire Cannon, and you can replace it with a Prismatic Cannon. So this has dispersed, focused, and lance firing, all 24 inches. As the shot number goes down, the strength goes from 4 to 8 and becomes a melt at the end. So not too bad. Probably the assault, the middle one would be the most useful. Assault D3, strength 6, -3, D3 damage. And then Shrieking Cannon has all the same, so 4-up invuln, native -1 to hit, all the usual stuff. The Star Weaver is a dedicated transport. That's like the big skimmer dude. Has 2 Shrieking Cannons, only 6 wounds with toughness 5, so not hard to kill these vehicles. Native 4-up invuln and -1 to hit helps a little bit. And open topped, so people can shoot out the top of this, and it can carry 6 Harlequins. And the Webway Gate is in this codex for some reason, but it's basically, it is a vehicle, interestingly enough. The Webway Gate is a vehicle and a building. So there you go, and it's Eldari, so it's not, you know, unaligned. It is a fortification, toughness 8, 14 wounds with a 3-up save, so sturdy but not impossible to kill. And so this thing is interesting. So it's got 2 pieces, one each arch, and you set it up at the beginning of the game with a 5-inch 5 inches between the 2 pieces, and you cannot set it up. So when you set up this model, it can be set up anywhere on the battlefield more than 12 inches from the enemy deployment zone and any enemy models, and more than 3 inches from any other terrain feature or the center of any objective marker. So it's fairly restrictive, especially depending on your deployment type. It's basically dropping in your zone, and at that it can't be set up anywhere within terrain or center of objectives. So it's fairly limited. It has to be 5 inches apart, and they look like decent sized models. So it has a 5-up invuln, which helps it to survive. Cannot move and all gets auto hit in combat. When you set up this model, any Eldari units you have not yet set up other than fortifications can be in the Webway Spur rather than being part of the edifice. Any Eldari units. So that's, but I think you still have to obey the 50% rule. At the one unit in the Webway can emerge at the end of each of your movement phases. wholly within 3 inches of a webway gate and 9 inches from enemy models. If the gate is destroyed, any units that have not arrived are destroyed as well. You measure closest point to the model. So things like raid knights and stuff will never be wholly within 3 inches because the base is too large. Same with vehicles because then the hull counts. So infantry mainly we're talking, or units of bikes. Okay. There we go. That's it. Literally like 6 or 7 data sheets. All right. You know what's annoying is that this codex is literally the smallest codex we've had that has like 6 data sheets, and yet they get all these chapter tactics. Whereas things like Blood Angels, Dark Angels, you know, Space Wolves, they didn't get. Space Wolves probably won't, but they didn't get their own little chapter tactics, which is fine, but it seems like, you know, they're getting a lot for a tiny little semi-faction, we'll call it. So Harlequin units, let's see, so in this rules, Harlequin units and Harlequin warlords, shorthand for Harlequin keyword. Other eldari such as Craftword and Drukhari, these eldari cannot make use of any of these rules. Ynnari is a keyword that some units have, blah 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 blah. If a detachment includes any Ynnari units, it is no longer Harlequins and will not gain either of these abilities. The abilities being Defenders of the Black Library. If your army is Battleforged, this is their OBSEC. And then Mask Form. If your army is Battleforged, they gain a Mask Form, which is one of these things. Okay, so let's go over the mask form. So Midnight Sorrow. Units with this form can move an additional d6 when they fall back and can consolidate 6 inches. So that's pretty sweet. Riddle Smith. At the start of each fight phase, roll 2 dice and discard the highest result. Until the end of the phase, each time your opponent targets a unit with this form and makes a hit roll that before modifiers matches your dice result, that hit roll fails. Okay. So I guess still you could re-roll it though if you can re-roll failed hits. Not so good, I guess. Depending on dice roll, I don't want to put your whole army depending on dice roll. Hysteric Frozen Stars. If a unit with this form charges, add 1 to the attacks. Okay, you already got a lot of attacks though, so I guess that just makes it better, but you know, win more sort of thing. Soaring Spite. Models with this form that can fly or that are embarked upon a transport that can fly. Treat all pistol weapons like Assault 1 weapons during a turn in which they advanced. In addition, these models do not suffer the penalty. Okay, so you could load up a bunch of transports with your weapons, which aren't that amazing anyway. Dreaming Shadow. When a unit with this form fails a morale test, only one model with this unit must flee. In addition, each time a model flees on a 4-up, they can shoot or fight before they flee. Okay, it's like having a relic banner. And it's only when it flees, instead of just this form is slain or flees. Okay, yeah, slain or flees. So it's just like a relic banner. And then Silent Shroud. Subtract 1 from leadership characteristics of enemy units, blah, blah, blah. Whenever you take a morale test for a unit within 6 inches, they must roll 2 dice and discard the lowest. Okay, probably the best is this movement, to be honest. An extra d6 movement when you fall back and a 6-inch consolidate. These guys seem like they want to just move, get in your face, charge you, fall back, shoot, charge again. Just they seem like a very fast moving army that is very glass cannon, depending on 4+ armor, some -1s to hit sprinkled around to survive, low toughness guys, whacking a lot of attacks. Let's see what stratagems they get. So the Great Harlequin. For 2 CP, select the Troop Master from your army that gains the Great Harlequin keyword and Will of the Laughing God. Reroll hit rolls of 1. Okay, so you need a 2 CP stratagem to make your Troop Master gain a usual Space Marine Captain ability. And you can only use this once per battle, so there you go. Of course, you get your Relics stratagem, your Webway Assault Deep Strike stratagem, which lets you spend 3 CPs to put 2 units in the Webway. That's assuming you don't use that silly gate. Prismatic Blur. For 1 CP, after your unit has advanced, they have a 3+ invuln, so that's not so bad. I would probably do that. Hero's Path. Use this stratagem 2 CP at the start of your phase when the Death Jester, Solitaire, or Shadow Seer are within 6 inches of each other. Remove all 3 models at the end of the movement phase. You can set them up more than 9 inches from the enemy unit. 2 CP. Nice. I like that. If you think these important characters are going to survive, then go for it. Otherwise, that could be folly. And the Solitaire moves pretty far already by himself. Kegarak's Jest, if I pronounced that correctly. 1 CP. Use this when the enemy unit falls back after the enemy unit is finished moving. Provided no other enemy units are within 1 inch of your unit, you can shoot the enemy unit that fell back. I like that. 100 Swords of Vol. Use this stratagem for a CP at the start of the first battle round, but before the turn begins, select one Harlequins unit, remove it, and redeploy it anywhere in your deployment zone. Okay, so it lets you do a redeploy in your deployment zone, which can be useful. Torments of the Fiery Pit for 1 CP. Use this stratagem in the fight phase before attacking with a Harlequin's character that has lost any wounds until the end. Increase the strength characteristics and attacks characteristics of that model by 2. Okay, the strength probably helps more than anything else. Vessel of Fate. Use this stratagem in your psychic phase. Shadow Seer can cast 1 additional power. War Dancers. Use this stratagem for 3 CP. Harlequin unit can fight again. Fire and Fade. So this is the Eldar thing. You can immediately move 7 inches after your shooting phase and cannot charge those, so maybe not that useful. Dramatic Entrance. Use the stratagem at the opponent's charge phase. Harlequin's character can perform heroic intervention, 6-inch heroic intervention. 1 CP Warriors Acrobats. Use this stratagem when an infantry unit from your army advances. Add 6 inches to the move characteristic for that movement phase instead of rolling a dice. Shrieking Doom for 1 CP. A Death Jester shoots a Shrieker Cannon or Curtain Fall, which I guess is a relic. Increase the strength by 1 and damage to D3. Isha's Weeping. Use this stratagem. Select Harlequin unit from your army that suffered casualties. Improve invuln save by 1. Mirthless Hatred. Use this stratagem when the Harlequin unit from your army is chosen to fight. Reroll hit rolls and wound rolls and that targets Slanesh. Not going to be that useful, I'm afraid, guys. Labyrinth Laughs. Use this stratagem when a webway gate from your army is destroyed, but before you remove the model, so it lets you put 1 unit. So it lets you save a unit if your webway gate dies. 2 CP Lightning Fast Reflexes. -1 to all hit rolls against a unit. For 2 CP, though. Okay, Haywire Grenade. Use the stratagem for Harlequin models from your army. Throws a plasma grenade. You only make a single hit roll if it hits its D3. So it's like Hellfire Shells for grenades. No price too steep, and it's only against vehicles. 2 CP, no price too steep. Use this stratagem when a Midnight Sorrow character from your army is slain, and if the character was a Solitaire or slain by Chaos, add 1 to strengthen attacks. They can fight again. Capricious Reflections, so Veiled Path stratagem. Use this stratagem at the end of your opponent's charge phase. Select the Veiled Path unit from your army. Can immediately perform heroic interventions. Malicious Frenzy for 2 CP. Before Frozen Stars unit from your army fights until the end of the phase, add 1 to wound rolls. I do like that. For 2 CP though. Example made. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase. Dreaming Shadow stratagem. Select Dreaming Shadow character until the end of the phase. Each successful hit roll made by this model causes 2 hits instead of it causes 2 hits. Nice. Hit rolls of 6+ cause 3 hits. That's okay. Skystride for Soaring Spite. Use the stratagem before a Soaring Spite infantry unit consolidates. Instead of moving towards the nearest model, the unit consolidates 6 inches towards the nearest Soaring Spite transport. If you end up within 3, you can embark. Silken Knife. Use this stratagem for 2 CP at the charge phase. Silent Shroud unit from your army cannot fire Overwatch. So 2 CP to negate Overwatch is pretty nice because a Custodes unit on 5-up Overwatch on these guys is going to shred a bunch of these guys before they make it in. Webway Ambush for 1 CP. Use the stratagem at the end of your movement phase. Choose a webway gate. Either 2 units in a webway can emerge from that gate this turn, or 1 unit can emerge this turn and can be set up wholly within 3 inches and more than 1 inches from enemy model. Okay, interesting. So this is the Phantasmancy or Phantasmancy. Phantasmancy discipline. Twilight Pathways. Warp Charge 6. Friendly Harlequin unit within 3 inches of the Psyker can immediately move as if it was the movement phase. Okay, so that's warp time basically. Fog of Dreams. Fog of Dreams has a warp charge of 6. Select enemy unit within 18 inches and visible. Your opponent subtracts 1 from hit rolls. So that starts to add up with some of these -1 stratagems, and some of these things are -1 natively. Some things are becoming -3. Good old Eldar. Mirror of Minds. Mirror of Minds, warp charge 7. Select enemy unit within 24 inches. Roll is equal to higher. Okay, so this is the roll off. You keep suffering mortal wounds as long as you roll higher. Veil of Tears. Warp charge 7. Friendly Harlequin unit within 18 inches. Subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made against that unit. So you can Fog of Dreams somebody and then Veil of Tears that unit, and so a unit could go up to -4, it seems, which is crazy. Shards of Light. Warp charge 7. Enemy unit within 18 inches and visible suffers D3 mortals and subtract 1 from leadership. So that's their smite substitute. And Webway Dance. Webway Dance is warp charge 7. Start the next psychic phase, roll d6 whenever friendly Harlequins unit loses a wound, and 6+ Phenol Pain. So there you go. Warlord traits. Luck of the Laughing God. Reroll hit rolls, wound rolls, and damage rolls of 1 for the Warlord. Not bad. Fractal Storm. Warlord has 3+ invuln against melee. Foot in the future. 2 inches to Warlord's move. And 1 inch to the distance it can move each time it does those things. Player of the Light. Reroll failed charge rolls for the Warlord and all friendly mask units within 6 inches. I like that one considering what this army is wanting to do. Player of the Dark. Each rule 6+ made by your Warlord attacks inflict a mortal wound. And Player of the Twilight. So this is your CP stratagem. And roll a d6 each time you or your opponent uses a stratagem. If the result exactly matches the number of command points used, then you gain that many command points. Oh, interesting. So if you roll a 3 and they use 3 CP, that's 3 command points. So I like this little variation on the CP regen type thing. It's interesting. It kind of plays into the luck of the Laughing God, you know, these kind of jester guys. I like that. Very cool. So let's see. These are the mask specific Warlord traits. Hit rolls of 6. So that's exploding 6s. Webway Walker. Set your Warlord up in the Webway and then you can deep strike him. Frozen Stars. Arcane shall roll a d6 each model. So that's the Phenol Pain. Dreaming Shadow. Let's see. Add 1 to any Somber Sentinel rolls made for Dreaming Shadow units. Sky Strider. Warlord can disembark from a transport even after it's moved. Sinus Shroud. So if the Warlord is slain in the fight phase, yeah, I don't take anything that relies on your Warlord being slain as a Warlord trait. It's kind of silly. Okay, let's look at these relics pretty quickly. So the Master Secrets is just a leadership one. The swords. Suit of Hidden Knives. Reroll roll a d6 each time a hit roll of 1 is made for an enemy model targeting the wearer on a 2+. The model's unit suffers a mortal wound after the unit has resolved all its attacks. It's okay. Crescendo. Star Mist Raiment. 3+ invuln against ranged weapons, and units cannot fire Overwatch during a turn in which the wearer advanced. Okay. But they can advance in charge, so you could always just advance 0.1 inches just to get this ability. So that's pretty good. A 3+ invuln and no Overwatch, which is great. That's a standout one, I think. Laughing God's Eye. Friendly auto pass morale and blah blah blah. Feel no pain against mortal wounds. Doesn't beat the raiment. Let's see. Midnight Chime. Midnight Sorrow model only once per battle. Bearer can activate the chime, increase the attacks by 1, whatever. Mirror Staff. Ghoul Mask. Frozen Star models wear the Ghoul Mask and attempt to deny 1 psychic power in each enemy phase, and the same as a Psyker adds 1 to the deny. That's okay. Curtain Fall. Death Jester only. Oh, this is the special Shrieker and stuff. It's just a little bit stronger, strength 7. Yeah. It's pretty nice. Might be worth. So it's 30-inch range, so it's increased by 6 inches. Strength 7 has gone up, -3 and -2 AP, so much more AP. Choose one of the profiles above. Wound rolls of 6+ means it's resolve AP -4, and then it still does the exploding mortal wounds thing. Yeah. Sword and Spike model, Foul Shoes Talon. While the wearer is embarked on a transport, the vehicle may move additional 6 inches. If the transport is destroyed, you do not need to roll any dice to see if disembarking models are slain or if the transport explodes. No disembarking models slain, the transport does not explode. Okay, that's not that great. Scintillating Veil. Increase the range of all aura abilities by 3 inches. Not too bad. I still think the Star Mist Raiment is the best. 3+ invuln plus immunity to Overwatch. Very nice. Okay, points. Well, let me grab my index here. Okay, so Death Jester is now only 45 points down from 75. Wow, that's a big reduction. 30-point reduction for the Death Jester. Shadow Seer went from 134 to 125, not too bad. Skyweaver's down 5 to 30. Solitaire went from 94 to 84, so it's 10 bucks cheaper. Starweaver from 79 to same price, 79. The Troop went down 2 from 15 to 13. Troop Master is now 70 points, and it was 59, so the Troop Master went up 11 points, interestingly enough. Void Weavers, 68, same price. And the Webway Gate is 120 points. Oh, fuck that. You're not going to see that, except for in the most casual of games. Yeah, it's so easy just to make that useless. So, 120 points. Wow. No thanks. I'll take 3 Death Jesters instead. The Solitaire is unique. Let me just go back and check. I think the Solitaire, by virtue of its name, must be unique. The Solitaire is... yeah, only one. So you can only have one Solitaire, by virtue of its name. So weapons-wise, let's see. Fusion, Haywire Cannon went up 1. Neurodisruptor, Prismatic Cannon, 000 Shrieking Cannon. So, okay, those are all pretty much the same. The Harlequin's Blade is now free. The Caress is down 2 points to 7. The Embrace is the same. Harlequin's Kiss is down half price from 14 to 7. Mistave is free. Power Sword, Zephyr Glaive down from 11 to 6. So, generally, points decrease across the board. Death Jester, a lot cheaper. Alright, well there you go. That's the Harlequin book. Overall, underwhelming. I don't think these guys will succeed that much as a uni faction for sure. I think you throw these guys in as a detachment in an Eldari army of some kind for some fast moving, decently hard-hitting but glass cannon-y sort of melee presence, or even just a Solitaire can do a lot of work by itself. So I think that's how you're going to see Harlequins. Only the most hardcore people will see a whole army of Harlequins. I mean, a bunch of aggressors with bolters just makes these guys cry. Even lasguns, masked lasguns with first rank, second rank fire can kill a bunch of Harlequins. So yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. The other thing is, like, who wants to paint this, man? Jeez, it's crazy. But I hope you enjoyed that quick read along. Please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. And if you like what we do here at CanHammer, please consider supporting us on Patreon by clicking that link up there. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.